Alright, we are on the draw. Rug Delver, of course. This hand isn't necessarily great. I could see it struggling against aggro if this Scour doesn't get us some interaction, but I don't think the average 6 is going to be better, and this actually looks really good against mid-range decks. Blinkmoth Nexus basically confirms that we're not playing against a mid-range deck, although it could be Tezzerator. We are probably going to go land, get a Steam Vents, Thought Scour, go. So let's just start with Wooded Foothills, the least versatile of our fetches. I'm hoping this isn't Affinity. Smuggler's Copter, this is going to be interesting. I technically should have scoured right there, because we could get a Disrupting Shoal and then pitch Snapcaster Mage to counter the Copter. Although I don't know if you would actually want to do that. It's always nice to give yourself the option. So we shouldn't have let that go quite yet, and unfortunately we couldn't do both Scour and Snare. I would kind of like to hold up some removal, but I think I would much prefer slamming a Goyf. And I think I'm going to be a little cognizant of the life total here and just get a basic forest. If I want an extra blue source, I can always get a breeding pool off of that Tarn. So that seems perfectly fine, and given that we've seen Blinkmoth Nexus plus an artifact, although it's not usual for Affinity to run Smuggler's Copter, it seems like a good idea to play around being up against Affinity and not just give them all the life that we have. Ethereum Sculptor is interesting. I don't think I've seen that card in any deck besides EDH, where you guys don't care about EDH combos. I'm not even going to get into it. One of my friends plays it in his mono blue deck. We'll leave it at that. Smuggler's Copter, getting in for 3 and letting them loot. They're actually probably going to be fairly aggressive here. Walking Ballista, I don't think is a big concern. There's also the fact that I can Forked Bolt some stuff, so that makes me pretty happy. Both of these are artifacts, so it doesn't really matter what I Forked Bolt. I believe I want to go Forked Bolt, Mandrills, hold up Snare. Their graveyard, they discarded a Copter. Our graveyard, ooh, we milled a Tribal. That's why Goyf's so big. We may as well add a creature to the mix, and a sorcery. Goyf is going to be a 6/7? Instant sorcery, land, creature, tribal, artifact. We're going to hit for 6. Play a follow-up Goyf? That's exciting. That's very exciting. We can either take out the Sculptor or go for Ballista plus life total. I think it's Sculptor, given that Sculptor can enable them somewhat. I don't know exactly what this deck is doing, and I feel like I should be wary of cost reducers. So I'm going to do that. Oh, hey, there's 6/7. They're probably going to chump. I'd chump. But I mean, I'm going to attack for 6. See how that goes. They don't chump. Do I want to play the follow-up Goyf or hold up Spell Snare? I feel like it's follow-up Goyf, just because these guys are so big. Mandrills does have Trample, which is very relevant, don't get me wrong, but that's a 6/7, and it's standing next to another 6/7, which is really quite ridiculous. Lucky Scour. Next turn we can snap Forked Bolt, which seems fantastic. Lodestone Golem. Non-artifact spells cost 1 more to cast. Never mind. We no longer have the ability to snap Forked Bolt. That's pretty annoying. Makes me pretty happy to have taken out the Sculptor, though. They have a 4-turn clock. Even if we hit a land, we won't be able to snap Forked Bolt because this increases the cost of both our spells that we want to cast, Snap and the Forked Bolt, so it'll cost us 5 mana in total. I want to know what you looted, see if I can get any information. It's an Academy Ruins, I'll take 3. Bolt. If they don't block, they're dead. That seems like a good reason to attack with both. If they do decide to block and they are not dead, I probably just pay the extra bit for the Goyf so that we're not dead on the crackback because 5 is a decent amount of power. They did block. They're probably going to ping us. Goyf is really showing off here why it's so expensive. It's a 6/7 right now, and I kind of can't get over it. Very rarely do you see Goyf quite this big. 1 green 1. I'd like to say that I made very good decisions this game, but I did have 3 Goyfs, all of which are 6/7, so it's pretty possible that I don't believe they can kill us with Blink Moth plus Copter here. Ethereum Sculptor gives both +1/+1. That's 2, that's 4, that's just 6. 6 is okay. I am absolutely blocking that Golem. No doubt in my mind. They are not attacking with it because they don't want to die. I think they're still going to end up dying. I think. So yeah, I think I made good decisions this game, and I would like to attribute my potential victory to all kinds of skill, but I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty damn lucky. Can't block the flyer, so I will take 4. It looks like they want to block 2 Goyfs and just go down to 2. Scalding Tarn means we can actually fetch out a mountain, which means even if they have the ability to block both Goyfs and have a free counter spell, we can kill them with Bolt, Snap, Bolt. In any case, I'm attacking with all 3, because that's simply the right thing to do. I don't believe they can fog, so I think this is going to end up being lethal in short order. I think this might be that new artifact deck that's going around. I'm going to look it up. It might be something I saw on Reddit the other day. I didn't actually look at the list, so I don't know. I want to look it up. Well, I want to look it up right now so that I don't waste sideboard time. But at the same time, I also don't want to screw up my sequencing here. So I think, yeah, that's better. Okay. So let's see. I believe it was on Reddit, so that's where I'm going to go. Modern Magic specifically. Great subreddit if you guys don't know about it. Let's see. Is it the deck I'm thinking of? Pulling up a list right now in Chrome. I see 2 Smuggler's Copters. I see Ethereum Sculptors. I see Lodestone Golems. Apparently it's called Blue Steel, and supposedly it was created by Zach Elsick. So that is the deck I was thinking of. What do we want against them? Seems Affinity-like. So I think Huntmaster might be good. At the same time, their win con was Smuggler's Copter, so that might be a bad idea. Pillar seems good. We saw a good deal of 2 toughness creatures. Blood Moon seems awful. EE maybe. Vapor Snag could be good. Pyroclasm I like. Hybridization I don't. Staticaster could be good, but I'm thinking maybe not. I did see some of the more Affinity-esque cards there. I want the second Spell Snare. I'm going to start here. This looks like another matchup where Knuckleblade seems awful. I think in the affinity-esque ones, you want to board him out because they have evasive creatures, whereas against your standard low-to-the-ground aggro deck like Burn, I think Knuckleblade's going to be very good. Naturally, that is baseless speculation. Let's board out some Disrupting Shoals. Probably a number of Thought Scours. I don't think this is the kind of matchup where I want to hit the ground running and just go with it. Let's cut a Traverse. We have 16 creatures. So Delver should be okay. Do I want to cut Staticaster? I think it's going to be good, and I want to try it out. Maybe just the one Huntmaster, because I don't want to go too down the I don't want to go too deep in the rabbit hole. But Huntmaster seems pretty good here. It also seems kind of if they just have a Smuggler Copter draw, and they do supposedly run 4. Dismember seems great. I could live with cutting a Stubborn Denial. 1 card left. I definitely want all the lands. Maybe it's just another Traverse. Being able to tutor things is nice. Maybe I don't want both Vapor Snags. Maybe I don't want the EE. Let's cut the EE. 60 cards, let's give it a go. Hopefully it's good. Game 2 against Blue Steel. Naturally, I had to look it up so that I knew what to name the video. Lightning Bolt is nice. If this Thought Scour was a Serum Visions, I would keep this hand. As is, it isn't. We are on the draw. Bolt. We might never cast the Pyroclasms or the Snapcaster Mage, so I think this is something I would mulligan. We do have Bolt and Dismember, which is nice. I honestly kind of like it. I have 1 Traverse and 18 lands. Do I run it? It's a little greedy. I'm gonna do it. Oh, clicking to your turn does not accept the hand. I have 1 cantrip and 2 pieces of interaction that I can use before I draw any cards. So I think this is worth trying to keep. Might not be worth taking a mulligan over. You might really want to mulligan it. I don't know. I have never played against this deck before. I'm assuming it's just a slightly weaker affinity deck. I apologize to anyone who that offends, just in case that offends people. I don't have Disrupting Shoal in the deck right now, so the sequencing on this Scour is significantly less relevant. I'm still going to do it, though. Get myself a Steam Vents. Scour. Me. Pay blue. Can I have a land? I can have a land. Fantastic. And a Staticaster. I'm going to go land tapped, possibly fetch a land into play tapped. There we go. Took a lot of clicks. We might have lagged a little bit. I'm hoping to Lightning Bolt the let's cancel skip so that we can Lightning Bolt the Copter when the time comes. Yup. I want to be bolting it before it attacks. They didn't attack. Did they animate this? They didn't animate it. No, they did play the Copter last turn. So then do I bolt the Sculptor? No, I don't think so. Xmage? Xmage, you're worrying me. Okay. I want to make sure I don't accidentally skip over this fetch, because I do want a Breeding Pool tapped. I milled the Breeding Pool and didn't check. Then it's a Stomping Ground tapped, because I would like to have green mana. Vapor Snag, sure. Let's bring up this graveyard. And I'm going to pass again. We have Mana Leak if they decide to do absolutely nothing. Oh, I have to discard. Probably the Staticaster. Maybe the Vapor Snag. Let's get rid of the Vapor Snag. I think the Staticaster might have slightly more value since we have the Mana Leak in hand. Ethereum Sculptor. That's good. That's a good reason to Pyroclasm. That can resolve. Feel free to animate the copter and dedicate a lot to the board. Commit. Go on. Yes, yes. Walking Ballista for X equals 1. Excellent choice. That can resolve. Now kindly animate Smuggler's Copter, please. There we go. Smuggler's Copter is animated. They attempt to move to combat, but I don't want them to. We may as well not let them loot. Go to us. We don't have a reason to dismember here, I don't believe. Given that I plan on doing a juicy Pyroclasm, I'll take 1. I would rather take 1 than dismember and take 4. So let's take 1. Aether Sphere Harvester. That is interesting. It's crew 1. If we draw a land, I will be happy because I'll be able to dismember it. Trigger, they get some energy. Land. I would very much enjoy a land. It's a Huntmaster. I kind of deserved that because this absolutely was greedy. I think I should have discarded the Staticaster. They're probably going to Ballista us for 1. And then we're going to start taking big hits off of this Harvester. Here's Ballista. Does its thing. We lose a life. 2 more guys go down. They can actually crew the Harvester with Blinkmoth Nexus, which is really cool. Animate Manland, animate Vehicle. Grand Architect. Other blue creatures get +1/+1, and it can make artifact creatures blue. They did hit their 3rd land drop. That means they have 2 non-lands in hand. Tap an untapped blue creature you control. Add 2 to your mana pool. I feel like there's a combo there. We're going to take 3. They're going to gain 3. Or, yep. I was going to say they're not doing it, but they are. Now, unfortunately, they can get their Aether Sphere Harvester out of Dismember range by paying blue to make it blue. So the Dismember line might not work quite as intended. That's a Tarmogoyf. I think I just cast that. I really can't race, but I have nothing better to do. So I do think that's necessary. Really regretting keeping the Staticaster in hand because I would be able to bounce this Harvester. I think the decision to discard the Snag was wrong. Seems like it. I don't want to take the outcome as a big lesson because that's a sample size of 1 and that's just silly. But at the same time, I feel like, given that I only have 2 lands and I have other things that I could be drawing that take a lot of mana, the Huntmaster, the other Huntmaster that we haven't drawn, the other Snapcaster, we already have a Snapcaster in our hand, I think keeping the Staticaster was silly. They crewed it. So this is going to be a life point swing of 6, which is pretty unfortunate. It looks like we're going to lose this. An island would be quite nice because that opens up Snap Snag, sorry. Oh, no, they have more blue mana, okay. I was gonna say they made it blue to get the buff, and if I had mana up, I could dismember in response, but they have another blue source, so that line wouldn't work. Forked Bolt. So it's going to be really hard to deal with this, I think. Neither of these removal spells do anything to Grand Architect. I think I hit for 5, although that doesn't do much at all. And I believe I hold up Dismember just in case I can somehow snag the Aethersphere Harvester, because there's not really anything better I can do. If I Dismember the Architect, they can just use the Blink Moth to animate it since it's crew 1. So that sucks. Goyf can't profitably block, so there's no point in keeping it back. We do have a chance, though, if they commit to something. Right, no, Aethersphere Harvester isn't crewed. We can't Dismember it. I was going to say they just tapped out of blue mana. We go now. But this is not currently a creature. They got Walking Ballista back. I believe they're going to try to kill us. They're going to get the Walking Ballista, make this blue to deal 4, possibly deal 1, make it 5, and then 2 with the Ballista. At least I'm hoping they overcommit ever so slightly, so that I can Dismember and get the kill, but they're doing it nice and slowly. I don't think this game is going to work out for us, unfortunately. Once we take this hit, Dismember is basically useless. A land gives us Snap Snag. I don't think that'll get us far enough. Well, we're going to take our lumps, and then probably just Mana Leak. Yes. Yes, they didn't pump it, which is interesting. I'm not sure what they're doing with their mana if they're not pumping. We saw a spell for a moment. It was blue, but now it's a Walking Ballista. I'm pretty sure I just Mana Leak that, given that we have basically nothing going on right now. So we may as well give ourselves a shot. Delver. Delver's not going to do it. They have lethal. I think I'm going to play the Delver and hold up Dismember just in case they sequence their stuff wrong, but we can't Dismember anyway, so we're pretty much just dead. Yeah, we're gonna attack. We are definitely going down swinging. I don't know if keeping this hand was a bad idea, but it certainly did not end up working out for us. Here's another Walking Ballista. I don't want to scoop quite yet. Oh, they saved the blue. They might go for the kill. We can't Dismember. Being at 4 kind of sucks when you have a Dismember in hand, but I guess that's life. I think they're swinging with both. I'm just going to take it and fall over dead because I can't really do anything. So let's go to game 2. Staticaster looked really bad here, but I'm pretty sure they run Signal Pest. Maybe they just don't run enough X1s to make it worth it. I pulled the list up in Chrome again. They have 2 Judges Familiar. I'm looking at X1s. 2 Signal Pests. Ooh, 4 Mausoleum Wanderers. That doesn't work. So it looks like they're more of an Artifact Convoke deck with Chief Engineer. Sort of like an actual affinity deck, because that basically, it doesn't quite give your artifacts affinity, but sort of. No, I don't think there's enough to justify the Staticaster here. Oh, I only had the 1 Hunt Master. It'd be helpful if I remembered that. So if I'm boarding that out, what am I boarding in? I think another Thought Scour. Maybe a hybridization. I don't really want to give them 3/3s though. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Yeah, let's try that. Should I? I don't know if I should. Maybe over a Vapor Snag. Let's do that. And bring the Thought Scour in anyways. Hopefully this works. We're on the play again. This hand looks great. Keep. I think we're going to go for the Steam Vents again. Just like in Game 1. And hopefully this game ends up being very reminiscent of Game 1. I recall Game 1 being very enjoyable. You all know I enjoy Magic, but of course I am snarkily, at least somewhat snarkily, referring to the fact that we won Game 1. And that I would very much enjoy winning this one. Let's go Steam Vents off of Wooded Foothills and cast a Serum Visions. Steam Vents. Yup. Do that. Is it good? I kind of like Pyroclasm. I also kind of like these, but I can't use my mana efficiently and get both of them. So I don't think I want Pillar. I think I'd rather have Delver. Although it's not coming down for a little while if I do keep it. Seems like a good card to have though, so let's do it. I'm pretty sure I just want to go Goyf next turn. I also think I want to conserve my life total because I feel like I'm not quite the beatdown. I'd rather blow them out with a sweet Pyroclasm if I could. Mausoleum Wanderer is going to make that sweet Pyroclasm a lot harder to pull off. Let's get a basic forest and Goyf. Goyf it up. Go to us. Take a look at the graveyards. Land sorcery so far. Mausoleum Wanderer is probably going to ping us for one. I'd ping us for one if I were them. I don't really want to cast the Delver here because I'd prefer to have a good Pyroclasm before committing the Delver, but I might end up sucking it up. First, I'm going to get an island and cast Serum Visions. Another Delver and a Lightning Bolt on top. Well, I like Lightning Bolt. I am going to cast this Delver because I don't really feel like Pyroclasming a Mausoleum Wanderer. Although it doesn't seem that bad. Go to us. I have nothing to do for green. No Dismembers in hand. Grand Architect basically ignores Pyroclasm. Although I can bolt it. They tapped it to add mana to their mana pool. Oh! For a big Walking Ballista to shoot Delver. That's exciting. That actually makes me kind of want to go for Pyroclasm, Bolt, Delver next turn. That seems pretty good. I believe that'll wipe their entire board. I do have to be careful of Pyroclasm plus Ballista Shot at Goyf killing Goyf, but I believe Goyf is going to be quite large by the time that happens. Let's do some math ahead of time because I don't want to screw that up. That would suck. Goyf's a 3/4 right now, so Pyroclasm plus one shot from Ballista actually can't kill it at all, and by the time the Ballista gets to shoot, it'll have been put into the graveyard by state-based actions. This will be a 4/5. Looks pretty good. Let's start off with a Pyroclasm. Red, green, I might not end up playing the Delver because Mausoleum Wanderer. If they sacrifice the Wanderer, they did. I actually don't think I care at that point. Although I kind of do. I have a backup Pyroclasm. Yeah, that's okay. We're going to let that happen. No, thank you. Instead, I think I'm just going to bolt the Architect. So let's see, I'll get a Stomping Ground, like I said earlier. I think it was in this video, might have been the previous one. Bolt that. Get rid of the Artificer. Artificer or Artificier? I don't know. I'm not going to play Delver and let them get value. I'd rather just attack. We're actually pretty low on life here, which is naturally a concern. But I think we're going to be just okay. Would have been nice if Mausoleum Wanderer didn't have 2 power off of that Architect, but you can't have all of your board wipes resolve, I guess. They could put a counter on the Ballista, but I don't think I'm scared of that. Golem is certainly more worrisome. And if they do that, I'm pretty sure I just go for the Pyroclasm anyways to deal with the Ballista, get it out of the way, and then, well, I actually won't be able to play Delver in that scenario. Assuming we don't draw a land. They swing, put a counter on it, okay. In that case, I'm going to end up taking a good bit of damage here. I'm going to follow up with a Pyroclasm. They're going to shoot us for 2. We'll go down to 7. And then I believe I just play Delver. There are not yet any artifacts, so they'll take 5, which is something I'd like to do. Making the opponent take 5 is something I enjoy. I won't be playing this island because it gains us basically no value whatsoever. Almost literally no value whatsoever. Yep, we get shot twice. Pyroclasm basically just made them get that done. I don't really want Walking Ballista to sit around on the battlefield. Goyf took a little bit of damage, but Goyf is perfectly fine. Let's get in for that clock. Then we'll play Delver, which will either accelerate the clock, or it will act as a way to block Blink Moths. Or maybe it'll just sit around and do nothing. Who knows, really? All kinds of things can happen in Magic. This game's kind of down to the wire. We are down on cards. Well, actually, we're technically up on cards given that we have 2 creatures and they have none. So we're technically up 1 card. We both have 5 lands confirmed. I don't know if their last 2 cards are equal to or better than Goyf plus Delver. Hopefully they're much worse. Lodestone Golem, I wouldn't say is really so much worse. At least they can't Blink Moth us, though. That's a good thing. If this is a Lightning Bolt, we can put them in a bad spot. Ooh, Denial is exciting. I believe I just swing with Delver. If I attack with both, I'm dead on the crackback. If I attack with neither, I don't really like that. If I attack with just the Goyf, I'm in some pretty big trouble. They swing with the Golem. I take 5. Yeah, they would probably just swing with the Golem. I could block with the Aberration there, but in that case, these 2 trade. If they have basically anything that buffs their artifacts, I start to end up in a really bad position, and I think I like approaching this from them having 3 life and us having 5. Or sorry, them having 6 and us having 5. because then we put them under a lot more pressure, I think. Swinging with Goyf puts them to 4, which I think they can do a pretty good job dealing with, whereas I don't want to go to 1 if they attack with everything. But they won't attack with everything, to be fair. If we attack with everything, we're dead. If I attack with just Goyf, they go down to 4, and they have these 2 plus this. If they have any sort of... Actually, if they have any way to buff artifacts, I'm in a lot of trouble in that scenario. So I think I am just going to attack with the Aberration. At least they can't cast any non-creature spells profitably. I don't think they have that many, though, to be fair. Denial actually might be really bad against this deck. Excuse me. I really should have checked that when I was looking at the list. Maybe I should have totally boarded out Denial. I'm going to look at the list a third time. I've never played against it before, so this is a pretty interesting experience for me. Smuggler's Copter. Technically not a creature. They also run Throne of the God Pharaoh. This is so awesomely brewy. Post board, they can have Unified Will. Ceremonious Rejection, I'm not scared of. Aether Sphere Harvester is another good thing. To Denial, we're also looking at Pithing Needle, Basilisk Collar, Relic, and Grafdigger's Cage. Hey, it's a Smuggler's Copter. Hey, it's Copter. I'm going to counter that. Hopefully they're not just baiting us out, but I really don't want them to have a Smuggler's Copter. So I will pay for it, yes. Mausoleum Wanderer. Ooh, that could be bad for us. Oh, it's a non-artifact spell, so they had to pay extra for it. That's pretty fantastic. They can't attack here, which means I attack with Aberration, and they lose their Wanderer, which is actually kind of great. Ooh, Thought Scour. I feel like I should use the Scour right now, even though it costs 2. If we draw Burn or something, I'd rather have that going into combat. I can go land plus Goyf, which lets us attack with Goyf, which basically decimates their board. I'm going to do quick math to make sure I don't screw up. This cannot counter Tarmogoyf. This makes Goyf cost 1 more. I will have 3 mana. We're getting in with everything. Oh, they actually have to block. Yes. Yes, this is fantastic. They can chump block Goyf and just take the 3. But then we still have Goyf, which means Lodestone Golem does not have good attacks unless they have something really awesome to board, or that they boarded in, something to that effect. They might have something like a Relic of Progenitus, which could be really bad for us. They decide to take 5 and go to 1. Chumping the Aberration, that's perfectly fine. Yep. End combat very slowly, because I don't want to accidentally screw up. Here's the follow-up, Goyf. Follow-up, Fatty. Just like what I said the other day with Grixis Shadow. Follow-up, Fatty. Follow-up, Fatty. That's still fun to say. Do they have anything, or is it game? Technically they're not dead. They could animate both Nexi, do a lot of blocking. Nice draws. This might be another snarky opponent. If... well played. You too. You too, dude. So, that is Rug Delver against Blue Steel. That was pretty interesting. Hopefully you all enjoyed that video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you, of course, in the next one.